Good evening, hello, and welcome back to the Tour de Corsica, the 5th round of the FIA European Rally Championship. A cornerstone in the world of European rallying, one of the most famous events in cross-country rally history. A fantastic opportunity to see the top drivers in the world of rallying in Europe and further afield, taking on one of the oldest events in rally championship racing. The first event back in 1956, and it's still going strong today, both as a championship round for the World and European Rally Championship. It still holds drama from start to finish, and there are some pretty exciting racers in the field today. I'm Jake Sanson, beside me is Andrew Coley, and we've got some pretty exciting racers in the field today, haven't we, Andrew?
We have indeed. Decent day's action so far. Special stage 6 now. We've seen some drama since you were with us this morning. If you managed to catch this morning's stage live, we'll have a roundup of some of the action from the day in a few minutes. Decent shot of Corsica from our helicopter. Stunning stages. We've had mixed weather as well. We've had a little bit of rain prior to the start of this stage. Well, quite heavy rain according to Julian Porter at the end of the stage, but this is what happened earlier on. So Craig Breen then, very, very quick indeed. He won most of the stages. Had a decent lead, 11 seconds, but you saw there, very, very sideways. Watch this. Over onto the verge, bang, hits the bank, and he actually knocked the tyre off the rim. Great shame for him. Drops 1 minute 23 and ends up in 5th. Robert Kubica, first time in Corsica. He took the lead after Breen's puncture. In fact, had said that he was taking it just a little bit easy. He said, if we want to survive, we've got to continue. He did very well, as I say, took the lead after Breen went out. Unfortunately for him, he's had an electrical problem and has retired for the day. Brian Bouffier, second overall after special stage 4. 7.5 seconds behind Kubica, who of course is now gone. And then Jan Kopecky works to go to driver. First on the road today, he was 3rd overall and 8.8 seconds behind Kubica. So you can forget that now, because as I say, special stage 5, which is not in the roundup, shows us that Kubica has gone. Fuel pump issue, we think. This is how they lie after 5. Bouffier 3.8 up on Kopecky. Breen 43.5 behind the leader. Sarrazin in 4th. Is it going to be all over for Breen or not? It's going to be about the fight back, basically.
So plenty still to come. Join us after the break when we get underway for stage 6 of the Tour de Corsica 2013. Welcome back to Corsica, the 6th stage of the 5th round of the FIA European Rally Championship. And this is when things get serious. 15 degrees air temperature, comparable to earlier on when it was about 21. And now we have a 35% chance of rain compared to 20 earlier on. So we've had some rain earlier on, of course, during the day. And that means that things are going to get a little bit interesting come the 6th stage. We may even get some rain interfering in this. But here's your starting list. Kopecky, Breen and Delacour are the first 3 to go. Oliveira, Bouffier and Sarrazin. You'll note the absence of 2. Kubica and Bertelli. Here's Jan Kopecky on his way.
Leváš kolej a doleva je 5 plus. Váže pravá 6 a levá 6 utáhne a pravá 5 kat. Váže levá 6 minus po asfaltu 30.
Right, if you're looking at Kopecky's screen, you will be able to see what he can see, and that, I'm afraid, is water. At the minute, it's what we call psychological rain, which means it's not affecting the grip levels. But if it rains much harder, it will. Julian Porter, who is at the end of the stage, has said that it rained heavily a little while ago. These temperatures that we're seeing, it will dry out fairly quickly, but again, we can see different colours on the road surface, which point to different levels of grip, and that's just not just the weather, it's also the different types of tarmac. Corsican roads, very, very patchy. Look at this shot from the helicopter here. You can see the different sections of road and the way they've been patched in, potholes filled in and so on. So very, very tricky indeed. A couple of the drivers have been complaining about how bumpy and difficult it is, but it is the usual suspects up front. Minus, unfortunately, of course, Kubica. So a bit of a problem, Jake, in the last stage.
Yes, indeed. It all went wrong for the Polish ex-Formula 1 driver, stopping on the stage 4 kilometers from the finish line with a mechanical problem. It's looking like something to do with fuel. We don't know whether it's a fuel pressure problem or whether it's something in the engine, but yes, he is indeed out of the action for today, and that pretty much curtails any chance he would have had of winning the rally. But he has said that if there is a Super Rally tomorrow, he will be back.
Yeah, he can come back tomorrow. He won't be eligible for championship points, but he can be eligible for leg points. So leg points awarded if it's more than 25% of the total special stage distance, which it is tomorrow. So we hope that we'll see Kubica back. He did say if he'd had some bits in the car, he might have been able to do it. There was a rumour at one point that it might have been fuel missing from the tank, as in not enough fuel, but I doubt that somehow with the team that are running the car. I think it's much more likely to be a problem with it. They did reseat the ECU in the passenger footwell, so possibly dislodged over a bump or something. Kopecki bit of understeer on turn in there. But Kubica gone. He was leading. Breen, of course, was leading before that. You've seen the footage of that big wide slide, knock the tyre off the rim and drop right back. Kopecki's on a mission here. Fading light, we can really see the brake lights, might even catch a glimpse of some very, very hot brake discs by the end of the stage, but wonderful shots from the Eurosport helicopter as always.
By comparison to earlier on in the day as well, we saw that Jan Kopecki, he was complaining that the car felt very loose, unstable all over the road. Well, he's certainly got a real handful here now, and you can see visibly, if you joined us earlier, you'll have seen how he coped with the conditions earlier on, but this is a completely different ballpark. He's really struggling here. Now on the start line, Craig Breen, the Irishman, a potential European and World Rally champion of the future. Still just 23 years of age. And he has really taken the fight to Jan Kopecki here. Let's have a listen to the pace notes on board.
Late 5 left plus opens, keep in, okay. Into 4 plus, tightens over bump, don't cut. And late 4 left minus, tightens, keep in. And a flat 3 right, 30. Late 4 left plus, half long, don't cut, 30. Long flat 4 left for 80, tightens slightly, keep in, okay. Slowing 60, late 5 right plus, tightens the minus, small cut onto bridge. 30, flat 3 left and 4
incredibly technical pace notes, wonderfully delivered by Paul Nagel. Listening to this.
4 left plus for 100, tightens the minus, sharp, keep in, Mickelson's corner, nips up and you. And
mentioned this one this morning. This is where Nicholson had a spin last year and felled a pole at the outside of the road.
Into 5 left minus, tightens.
And what we were saying earlier on as well, of course, is that Corsica, the rally of 10,000 turns, barely any straights at all. You just don't have time to breathe in between corners.
6 left minus, half long, tightens the square, 100. Right, tightens the late 4 plus, cut, 20, 4 left plus, sharp, tightens, keep in, and flat 3 right, 30, 4 left plus, sharp, half long, tightens, 50, 4 right plus, tightens over bump, 30, 4 left plus, 30, narrows, bump and 5 right plus, tightens, opens for 40, tightens the late 5 plus, sharp, over bump, don't cut, small loose, and flat 2 left, 80, 4 left minus, tightens, big cut, big don't cut, 100, 5 left plus, half long, tightens the minus, 20.
So I think Nagel there changing the note from big cut to big don't cut because there was a culvert on the inside sticking out from the bank.
Opens for 30, tightens the flat 4, don't cut it either. And flat 3 right, cut 20, late 4 left plus short.
So important to pick the throttle up earlier in these S2000 cars. Of course, normally aspirated, they don't have the turbo grunt that some of the regional rally cars, some of the guys are running this weekend here do have. Of course, Kubica gone with his now, Sarazan in the Mini. But you can hear Breen eager to get on the gas as early as possible, keep the revs up very, very high. Fantastic footage.
180.
And the car is a little bit looser as well. You can definitely see the difference compared to this morning. The car is a lot looser. They're having to control the back of the car a lot more through the tight right-left-handers where it's almost 90 degrees. They're really having to work hard on the acceleration, very careful on the exit.
150.
Well, the average speed for these stages, round about 85 kilometers an hour, and that's what it's like to listen to a co-driver at an average speed of 85 kilometers an hour. He's going as fast as Craig is on the road.
60 comes quick, late 5 left plus, don't cut loose. 130, don't cut it. Flat 3 right, 60.
Little reminder there on the way in, don't cut it.
60.
And that is the longest stretch of straight line you are likely to see on the entire rally. Back into the corners now. And it's mission impossible once again.
Don't cut it. 50. Flat 3 left, keep in. 60. Late flat 2 left, 40. Flat 3 right opens for 70. Massive moment from last year. Tightens the late slow. 4 minus sharp. Tightens keep in. 70. 4 left minus sharp. 50.
I think he said massive moment from last year there. Interesting, the sort of thing that go into notes, sometimes to remind a driver. Certainly I've put things into my pace notes. I'm afraid I'm nowhere near the calibre of these guys, but just something from the DVD of the recce or from the recce itself saying, you know, the dodgy crossroads. If you haven't found a good way to describe it, or if you've had a big moment there before, it will just immediately tell your mind exactly where you are. On board with Delacour. Not convinced that this is sounding quite right. Whether or not it's our microphone picking things up differently or not. No, there's something wrong with Delacour's car, I think. Not completely convinced, as I say. It could just be that we've got... He's still pushing.
Yeah, it doesn't quite sound right. It certainly doesn't sound the way that his machine
should be screaming like brains.
And at the moment, it sounds like a dying swan. It's just growling through the corners. It certainly shouldn't sound that rough.
We'll get a good idea if we see a split time to see whether or not Delacour has got a problem. Not sure. Very hard to tell just from an onboard.
The expert ears of the #1 member of the Francois Delacour fan club, Andrew beside me. Still incredible to see how his ability just doesn't diminish. 50 years of age, the Frenchman.
It's been in the enthusiasm either, you know. It's still wanting to be there and wanting to compete. And we've seen people like Sebastian Loeb say now, do you know what, I've had enough of airport departure lounges, you know, I've done